What's up, guys? So very recently, I just had my first interview with Andtgro, who's a Twitch partner and Marvel Rivals partner, and I really wanted to focus on kind of the toxic points of the Marvel Rivals community. And is it the streamers to blame, or is it our fault as a community, or NetEase, the company itself?
My name's Andrew. I go by Andtgro. I've been streaming for a little over a year now. Mostly Marvel Rivals. I started on Overwatch. I dabbled with a little variety, but that's basically it. Just been streaming for a little over a year. That's it, really.
So right off the rip, I just wanted to know directly, what is his answer to who is the cause of why Marvel Rivals is so toxic? The community, the business, or is it the streamers themselves?
I used to think it was like I would just blame Rivals, and then I just blamed the community, and then I just blamed streamers. And now kind of where I'm at is, at the end of the day, it's like if you're the captain of a football team, even if you had, like, if you're the quarterback, if you literally weren't even on the field and your team loses, you take responsibility.
Naturally,
So first and foremost, I think Marvel Rivals or NetEase as a company, like, they need to do a way better job holding their community accountable. But at the same time, streamers, which I am now one of, we need to hold ourselves accountable. And I noticed that although I ultimately place the blame with NetEase, I could, looking around me at my peers, there's very few that I really trust and sincerely believe are good people. NetEase needs to do a better job of cutting out the fat and these people that are just ruining the game. Specifically streamers, because we are the platform that they're putting on, right?
So this just really gets to show that, is it the streamers, or is it the community, or is it the company itself and not taking a harder restriction against people who are truly making this game miserable and not actually wanting to put the effort and time to making the game good? Now, competitive play is very different. We all have banter, we all shit talk, but it gets pretty bad in Marvel Rivals. Andtgro goes, and during the interview, I go to ask him specific questions on is some of the content that these big streamers, especially are making in these Discord communities, is it just to farm content? Is it actually genuine? Is it actually authentic? These are some of the things he has to say about that specifically.
It is very much acting, scripted content, whether it's for simple videos or drama. This is what I said earlier. It feels like a micro version of what you hear about happening in Hollywood. There's scandals that are just manufactured and planned out, and even if it's not fully manufactured, let's just say something happens, there's 1,000%. I like to call them vultures, content vultures, where they will just swarm to it, and guess what? It works.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Honestly, I can't think of a more perfect example than that. And this could be a hot take, but this is the truth.
No, absolutely.
100% a very clear example of that was the Capone situation. So for whatever it's worth, I don't really know much about Capone based on what I do know. I assume, to be honest, fully, he probably believes to some degree what he said.
Now, if you guys don't know, I'm going to show you the clip specifically on what he said right here.
After the last loss in my ranked game, I'm going to say something super controversial. I don't care. Agree, disagree, get angry, I don't care, go to hell. Y'all want to know what genuinely has made the gaming experience worse? More and more women coming onto the game. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm making that known. I am saying that the more women who play video games are making video games worse. They are making the experience worse. And here's why. Video games for the longest time was a primarily male-dominated hobby. That means that men are gonna act like men. They're gonna act like males because it's mainly been males.
So the point of this is not to focus on Capone, because at the end of the day, who cares? The dude had a comment. It wasn't a great comment, but it made him famous. The point is that the community fueled this guy's more success and giving him more viewers, giving him more attention. And this isn't the point of the video. But what blows my mind is what Andtgro has to say about the streamers who basically even made this more possible. And guess what? They were his own peers. They fueled another negative person's basically success in giving them more, basically everything that, they could want: attention, success, followers, subscribers. And here we are. This is what Andtgro had to say.
What was more intended than that, and guess what? It worked perfectly was Content Farm.
Yeah.
He was the most talked about person in Rivals overnight for weeks, and it's still happening. He had Flats make a video about him.
Yep.
And Flats is removed for all this, but even Flats made a video about Capone. And I will tell you, as upset and like, oh man, I don't condone that as I was about Capone and what he said, what I was equally upset about, again, hot take, is all my peers, people who just farmed the absolute heck out of this content. They were planning Discord calls and just talking about it all on stream for days and hours. And it's like, it's funny that we could get into this too. I really don't care that much. I'm going to keep some of the Andtgro files under lock.
Yeah, no, of course. So I don't know about y'all, but I did want to push this question a little bit more. I just decided not to out of respect for the streamer himself. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to know what the Andtgro files are, because there are a lot of other streamers who have this type of, it's not really called dirt. It's just more along the lines of how like people are fake in the image that they use, and then they're not really genuine. So they're going to control the outcome because they know they have the will and the power to do so due to the influence of social media. But this is what Andtgro did actually release and have to say, which was still leaves a big question mark.
I will release this here, a little tidbit. Group of people who farmed this content, this is the same exact group of people who have told me to be quiet about other dramas regarding them specifically.
Yep.
So when it's about them, oh yes, no, we can't discuss this. We don't like drama, blah, 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 blah. But when it's somebody outside of this inner circle of streamers, let's farm the shit out of this. Let's go for, like, it's all content farm. Not all, because like I said, at the end of the day, what he did say was inflammatory.
Oh yeah.
But so is everybody that farmed it. It's very hypocritical. It's very sad to see. And I always say this on my stream, like, don't meet your heroes, bro. Because these are, like I said, these are people I watched for a long time, some of them. And a lot of what you see is fake and scripted and
Now let's talk about comms. As you know, Marvel Rivals, there's a lot of people who don't want to be on comms, because if they say something, or if they have an opinion, or if they have a recommendation, they're afraid that they're going to get attacked, especially if they're not maybe performing well. Because guess what, guys? Everybody has a bad game. And yeah, in competitive, at the end of the day, you're there to win. So you do have an expectation to play well. But sometimes it just happens. But a lot of people in the Marvel Rivals community don't want to be on comms because they don't want to deal with being bullied or harassed, or they're just having fun, or they're trying to win and they're trying to lock in and they just don't want to hear everyone just arguing and yelling. So this is what Andtgro had to say about being on comms and kind of like his own personal perspective and his own opinion on it.
This a month ago.
Yeah.
It was like an argument I had with my chat, and I was like, guys, like the shit talk from Call of Duty was different than what it is now. It is 100%. So different. And the intent is different. Like, people have, like, there's like a university somewhere teaching these people how to just rage bait. And I don't know how they know how to do it. I don't know where they learned it from. But rage baiting is the worst thing that has ever happened. So, I think people are afraid to calm in video games. Probably number one, because of rage bait. I think number two, by a significant space between them. Number two is probably, I think people just aren't super competitive in Marvel Rivals specifically.
Yep.
But ultimately, rage bait is a huge issue. And I will, hey, look, it's Winston. I will be honest too that this goes back to like what I said about streamers. Like, there's no denying that. Like, I tell people this, like, anybody can become a successful streamer. You just have to, like, kind of sell out and just become a rage-baiting piece of garbage. You're going to make it. I promise you're going to make it.
That's a very proven thing in today.
It's so easy to clip farm rage bait because people just eat it up. People live for drama, and they like, again, not to be, you know what? I'm going to say it, bro. This is not a negative thing. This is a simple, objective fact. Everybody knows this. For example, Lucky Zeal is known for toxicity and rage bait.
Yep.
He just is. And he knows it, and I know it, and everybody knows it. And guess what? Who's the number one Marvel Rival streamer right now?
It's Lucky Zeal. And if you didn't know that, he actually, for the brand new season that's coming out, that's going to be released for the new hero Rogue, he is on the front cover representing Marvel Rivals. So this just basically goes to show, guys, if you can be toxic, you can be good at rage baiting, you can just, I guess, be you, you have a more successful chance of someone who's a little bit more authentic, maybe a little shy, maybe a little bit more reserved to themselves. So at the end of the day, Andtgro's not wrong. But am I hating Lucky Zeal? No. Do I personally like him? No. Do I think he's a good player? He's all right, but I've seen him get diffed multiple times, and I've even watched people clip it. So at the end of the day, this just goes to show, hey, anybody can make it in any negative way, I guess, in today's world.
And Lucky's, like, he blew up recently, and nobody's been involved in more drama than him.
Yeah.
Nobody's had more allegations. Nobody's had more talks. Like, it's Lucky Zeal. Whether you like it or not, guess what? He's the most successful. He's making the most out of every single Marvel Rival streamer. That's the truth.
Yeah, it is.
And literally. And again, that goes back to the Capone thing too. Like you pointed out, his views are higher than they have ever been.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to make it just farm drama and be miserable and be loud and toxic, it'll work. But yeah, that's why people are afraid to talk in games, is because everything is rage bait, and it's terrible. It's just terrible, and I get it.
So something I definitely wanted to get his, kind of his own opinion on was the whole arguing and always going after strategists, duelists, vanguards. I'm better, you're better, you play cloak and dagger, you get aim assist. Like, where exactly is his own perspective on what is the harder role to play? I'm a strategist main. I do think strategist mains kind of can make or break the game, but also tanking is very hard. You're the front lines, you have to read, you have to understand what's going in the background, and he makes some really good points on kind of the overall perspective on the responsibilities of each class and maybe which one is harder or not harder, or are they all kind of just dependable on each other? This is what he had to say.
So vanguards require most game sense. DPS or duelists require most mechanical skill. The thing is that a lot of people won't understand is strategist requires both to an extreme level. At the end of the day, it's kind of funny. Strategist is just, I mean, it depends which one you play, but generally speaking, strategist is just duelist, except instead of shooting enemies, you're shooting your team. So you still require aim, but you also require like a fundamental understanding of the game, where to position, because you're the main target by the 6 other enemies.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas, so anyways, it's like this whole contested thing. Every single role is extremely valuable. Ironically enough, the one role you really don't necessarily need most of the time is duelist.
So as you guys know, he's not wrong. The triple heal meta is pretty strong, and you can still do a lot of damage with 3 healers. And if you have 2 really strong frontline tanks, they can make up a lot of damage as long as they're just being consecutively healed. And then you maybe just have 1 fluff DPS, one that can kind of bounce around and do everything more universal. So again, he's not technically wrong, and the triple heal meta is still going strong. We all know it, we all see it. It can change games, especially in the blink of an eye. It's all depending on the team comp, and some heroes are better than others. So one thing I also wanted to ask him was the whole thing about, you're in this elo, you're never going to be in my elo. I'm better than you because I'm a Celestial player, you're a Platinum player. And is there really such a bad thing of, that you can't be in a higher elo because you're always going to be such a bad player because you've never reached the success of other people? The answer is really no, because at the end of the day, if you just have more time or you can dedicate more time to a game, of course you're going to have more time to level up. Not all of us can just sit on this game all day. So I just wanted to ask him his own perspective and his point of view, and this is what he had to say.
Always bigger fish. That same person who metaphorically told you in a diamond lobby, you're a shitter, I smurf your peak. That player's probably GM, and that player probably got told by a Celestial player the same thing. And that Celestial player probably got told that by, you know what I mean? The truth is, like I said earlier, you could simply, like, I have seen this firsthand. I have seen literal every single season they end top 100. I have seen them been dragged through the mud in Diamond. I've seen it happen. You can simply just 50% of the time, 55, 60% of the time, just unfortunately be on the losing team. That is literally unwinnable. That's entirely possible. I also think there's elements of like playtime on both extremes. Like, for example, most people in bronze, they're bronze because they don't play the game. Like,
Yeah, that's
it's super
true.
forgiving. Like you can gain like 40 elo for a win and lose
Oh,
like
it's
10
crazy.
in bronze.
Yeah.
Like it's just playtime. And conversely, you know, you could play like a lot of people like when I'm on TikTok, for example, they'll say, "Oh, well, like you're on a 10 loss streak. You should get off after 2 losses." And I'm like, if I could consistently do that, my win rate would be higher just by like
It
just
just
would.
that's just how
But,
it is. Yeah.
but it's like I'm also streaming, so it's like there's variables in that sense too. Like I can't just end the stream. And,
No,
like,
yeah. Be like,
be
oh,
done
my
for
2
the
wins for the
day.
day. I'm chilling. So
Yeah, so like I said, and another weird trend going on right now is people will say, "Oh, like account reviews." So what they do is like they want you to look at their win rate and their hero win rate and their stat. And I'm the biggest poster child for this, and I have a foolproof argument nobody's ever disputed. But like, it doesn't matter what. I mean, it matters a little bit, but what your stats are, what your win rate is, blah 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 blah. Like, I say the only way I can know how good you are is if I watch you play.
Exactly,
I can tell super quickly generally what rank you should belong to or just what your improvement areas are by watching you. But I think anybody who genuinely, sincerely says you're this rank, therefore you're just terrible, or you're this rank and therefore you're really, really good, those people, ironically enough, lack very, very, very good game sense. Like, if you have good game sense, you understand how nuanced it is. So specifically, again, for Marvel Rivals, like games like Overwatch, I think are a little more accurate of your skill level. Marvel Rivals, again, it goes back to like the first questions you're asking. It's so toxic. There's this epidemic of like throwing and rage baiting and this or that. Like, again, to summarize, you could be a literal top 500 player struggling in Diamond, or you could be a career peak Diamond, and I have seen this with my own eyes so many times, just get boosted all the way to top 500. It's entirely possible. There's just so many variables involved.
So something else that's very well known is when streamers invite their chat to play with them. Sometimes it can go good. Sometimes you can make amazing friendships. Other times, these people will troll you. They will create negative spaces. They'll start like talking bad things about you, or they'll just take a very, very bad thing and make it even 3 times worse. So at the end of the day, I asked him, why do you not play with viewers? Do you think not playing with viewers is going to hurt you? Do you think, there's a chance that you maybe down the line will? This is kind of what his own perspective was on that specific question.
Just a normal person.
Yeah.
And so I want to break down that wall of like, there's no difference playing with me versus like a random person. Like I love that people feel like for example, I hate the word fan. Like I hate that word. Because it's like a hierarchical word, and I just hate that. So that's number one. Is like I'm just a regular guy. There's no need to really want to play with me. However, what I do tell people is if you really do want to, and I know it's authentic this way, is sticking around. You'd be surprised how many times I see people say, "Hey, can I play with you? Can I play with you?" I say, "Hey, yeah, stick around, get to know me. I'd be happy to."
Yeah.
And I would be happy to. And then I will never see that person again.
Yeah, they won't.
And then that in my head shows that I'm handling it correctly, because either that person, the moment they get in my game, they're going to say something crazy, which has happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
Or they're just kind of like, I don't know, like they just want to play with like a streamer, and I'm not here to just play with people who want to play with streamers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I like to do is either people I know, like I'll play with viewers I have off stream, like just because I consider them friends.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
happens semi-frequently. But mostly what I like to do is either I get to know you and I play with you, which happens all this time. I've been making a little bit more connections recently with people, specifically streamers. I know I could trust them a little bit more.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
They understand the stakes. But also another thing I like to do is like if I meet people literally in a game and it goes well, like I'll like add them and just maybe we could play together. I think that happened today. So yeah, but when people ask me to play, it's hard to like, because it comes off like you're being I don't know, exclusive, but it's really not like that. And again, people who've been in my stream for a while, I'll literally say, ask them. They can vouch that if for whatever reason, it seems almost every single time I do play with people who ask that, it's just the most terrible experience ever. They just kidnap me and start saying crazy stuff. And So I just don't do it. I just don't do it unless I know that.
So after talking to him for a while, I obviously wanted to know, how does he balance out his life? Now, he's not a streamer who can do this full time yet. Obviously, we all have bills to pay. We all have responsibilities. And unless you're really truly making it on a good subscriber count, the viewership, yes, needs to be there. But also you have to get paid as a streamer. And people will only give you, the subs and stuff if they truly believe in you. And I'm not saying they don't believe in him, but obviously I wanted to kind of get his perspective on how does it feel to balance your life with also being able to be a Marvel Rivals streamer and just a streamer in general.
So when I started streaming, I had basically nothing but free time because it was right after I just was recovering from a brain surgery.
Yep.
So in the beginning, it was super experimental and just I had nothing but time to throw at it. And then as it kind of started to turn into something, that's when I started throwing even more time at it because I was like, well, this could actually be something tangible that I could continue doing.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I tell people this sometimes in the stream, and people don't believe it, but I genuinely believe that if you think like streaming and content creation and everything is easy, it's probably not something you'd be successful in because you have to view it like a job. You have to put in the work and hours and study and research the game. But like as it stands right now, I'm streaming 6 to 8 hours a day. I'm editing 2 hours a day. I have a job. I work 5 hours a day. So all in all, I'm putting in 60, 70, 80 hour work weeks.
That's a
and
lot.
I've been doing that for literally over a year now, pretty consistently with very few breaks. So I've definitely had to make huge sacrifices in my personal life with family, friends, work, whatever. But again, I've found myself in a good position to be able to commit everything I have into something I believe in and wanted to do. So
the very next question I asked him is there going to be any hope for Marvel Rivals? Is it going to continue to get better or is it going to continue to get worse? And this was his response to it, which honestly kind of caught me by surprise.
This game specifically and gaming in general is going to continue down this path of essentially toxicity and negativity being the path forward.
Yeah.
And I fear that because unfortunately real life is like that. It's often the people who take shortcuts and stab people in the back and kind of prey on negative things behind the scenes. Those are often the people that get ahead, unfortunately. I think that's just kind of like an underlying theme of life. But my personal belief, just as a human being first, and just general logic, is I believe that if at the people at the top of whatever it is, in this case, it's NetEase or Marvel Rivals or just gaming in general, whether it's like the company or the streamers, it starts with us. And I believe the same way that I've made every reasonable attempt to cut these people who objectively would benefit my streaming career. I've made an attempt to cut them out. And guess what? It has only hurt me in the short term. My belief is inevitably, if I fast forward 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, and I cut these things out, that ultimately the community I have at that point will be a community I actually want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Versus taking those shortcuts and getting 500 viewers a month from now. You know what I mean?
Now, this was a little bit bigger of a question, and I really wanted him to kind of really explain personally on how he felt about the entire amount of it. And that is that when you run into smaller streamers who aren't partnered, who aren't Marvel Rivals partners or Twitch partners, whatever the case is, or they maybe have a little bit of low viewership and they have TTV in your name. A lot of people have the assumption is that, oh, I'm playing with a TTVer. They're either going to be extremely toxic or they're going to be actually pretty chill and they're going to be quiet, or they're just going to rage, in their chat and not going to be on mic, whatever the case is. So I've seen Andtgro run into situations specifically with other streamers where they're not going to be big. They have smaller communities. And I've also seen him play with other streamers who, again, are smaller than him. And he's supported them. And he's definitely brought them into the fold and encouraged people to, hey, go follow this streamer. Check them out. They're really cool. I had a great game with them. So overall, I wanted to get his entire perspective on when you put TTV in your name. Are you opening yourself up to basically being, if you're going to be toxic and a jerk, can people go and respond to you, especially if they're streaming to you as well, and check out your channel and live and say, yo, why were you like this? Or do you just, is it kind of a double-edged sword?
So let me start by saying I don't believe in like pocket watching or viewer watching. I think that's corny. And in fact, what I do way more often than that is when I see a TTVer on my team, I say, hey, everybody go check them out. The same way is if they're cursing me out or saying crazy stuff or slurs, I'll say, hey, let's look at this person. And then if and when we do pull those streams up, is go figure, this person who's being super, super mean and nasty and disgusting or racist or whatever it is, go figure they don't have a following. And so from an outside perspective, some people view that, and like I've seen these TikTok comments before where they're like, bro, everybody starts somewhere.
Yes,
I started
that's
somewhere too.
Specifically what I'm talking about.
And I hear that argument, and I get where they're coming from, but the point is I'm sending a message to the yous of the world that you're not going to be successful. And honestly, it's kind of not entirely true, because we've seen the people who are toxic and make it. But the message I'm sending is like, do you want to be like this and have your content solely be rage bait? Is me pulling this stream up and saying, hey, don't be like this guy or else, blah, 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 blah. Like, for example, those people whose streams I pull up, I say, you know what? If this guy just wasn't really mean and nasty, guess what? I'd be sending people to his stream, and his community would grow, and we'd invite him into the fold. And I've done that
I've seen you do that.
Times. I've helped people though, for sure. And that's the kind of the message I'm sending out there is like, look, you could be positive and get helped by positive people, or you could be negative and stream to 0 people until basically you get a viral video. I rage baited Lucky Zeal or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I don't know, because like I said, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you also are giving them attention. But again, I always like to stay true to myself and my morals and call stuff out when I don't believe in it, even if it's like objectively a harmful thing to do. That's just who I am. And so I personally love calling those people out, because honestly too, at the end of the day, I've had people I've done that to who've come back to me and said, you know what, you're right, bro. You're right. And there's people I've played with since then. Like I've literally played with the same people who've rage baited me.
So a lot of these other interview questions kind of were just going into, things such as like, his favorite character. Does he have one? Unfortunately, as a streamer, he does mention that, he does kind of play the meta. He does have a lot of favorite characters that aren't as good, that he can't really play, obviously, in high comp. But at the end of the day, he answered all of these questions really authentic and genuinely, and he didn't try to pretend to be anybody he wasn't. He stuck to his morals and his values. And that is the whole point of this interview, is to really focus on the Marvel Rivals community, and are there good representation of it, or is there not? Or is the Marvel Rivals community and the streamers who represent it just always going to be toxic, and it's just that type of game? Guys, we don't know. Each video game, MMOs, first-person shooters, whatever, RPGs, they're all going to have their different type of niches in the community and the representation behind them. So at the end of the day, I want to give a shout out to Andtgro. Tell him thank you for taking the time out of your day. I apologize for the interview being so long with so many questions and me not using all of it, because probably I didn't really need to answer that, but it taught me a lot. So guys, if you haven't checked him out, please check him out. It's Andtgro at Twitch. TikTok, it's Andtgro as well. I'll make sure to post the links to his channels below in the bio, and if you guys can give him, some, at least check him out, see if he vibes with you well, see if he doesn't. At the end of the day, I think he's a great guy and a great streamer, and I can't wait to see the future that his streaming career has for him. This is Nerdversity, guys, signing out.